Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna go over some of the AWS stuff concerning the website. I've mentioned this a couple times before, but the website is running on a virtual machine on Amazon servers, and it's doing so through using this EC2 service. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud, and it's basically Amazon's service for renting out server space for users to run their programs. Um, so right here is the EC2 dashboard. And under resources, you'll see that we have one running instance. If we go to it, um, we'll see that we have this one row. um, so this item here, that's with the blue checkbox, is the actual virtual machine that we're kind of renting out from Amazon. Um, Basically, on this page, you can check on the status of the instance and make firewall changes if you need to in order to let people access it. But you can also see the status of if there's anything wrong with the service, if it needs to be restarted or anything. And then over here, under IPv for public IP, so this IP address is a public IP for this server. Basically, you can, let me copy it. You can go to this URL instead of the normal URL, and you'll still be able to access the website. This leads to the same page as apousc.org. If you make changes to this to the website, it will reflect on both this and the numeric URL. Something else you can do here is that if you right click on the public IP address, you can also connect to the server through AWS console rather than having to SSH through it through your terminal and using the what's it called, the PIM key. Yeah. What else? So if we go back to the dashboard, we'll see that we have one elastic IP. So an elastic IP is basically an IP address that you can associate with different instances. So the elastic IP address we have here is the URL that we saw earlier, 52.8.38.168. So the point of having these elastic IP addresses is that you can switch over. You can switch servers to like a backup copy if the main version crashes or something. So let's go back to here. Let's say that we have should have closed this earlier. Let's say we have this instance, right? This is a website. Let's say something goes wrong and it kind of goes down, but we don't know how to what went wrong with it. We maybe something just happened randomly and the server crashed, or the virtual machine got corrupted. Then we have to kind of launch a new instance, maybe restore from a backup, and then we have to switch over the elastic IP address from this instance to the backup instance. And then yeah, that's a use for elastic IP. If we go back to the dashboard again, okay, so here we see volumes. A volume is basically a portable storage system that you can move and share in between different instances. I don't think I ever fully set this up. I was in the middle of it and then never finished it. So right now I don't think this really does anything. But that's something you can maybe implement in the future. And then we see that we have one key pairs. This is the key pair PIM file they use to log in. So if you ever lose that file, or if you ever leak it out and you make a new one, delete this and create a new PIM, a new key pair, and then download the file, use it to SSH into the server. And then we see here that we have 3 security groups set up. This is basically the firewall settings and configurations that allow the server to access the rest of the internet, and for the rest of the internet to be able to access the server. And then what's next? Okay, so EC2 snapshots are basically backups of the server. I don't have any right now. I think I deleted it a little while ago. But it's good to make periodic backups of the server and keep it just one copy. I think there's a limit of how many copies you can have for free under the free tier plan, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So Route 53 or Route 53 is AWS's system for I think it's like DNS and domain resolution. So basically, after you buy a website from Namecheap or GoDaddy, you would have to go here and connect that custom domain with your Amazon EC2 instance. Route 53 is how we're able to go to apousc.org and access the website, the same as accessing this IP address. So this IP address is the actual URL for the website, and through Route 53, we're able to redirect um, traffic that goes to apousc.org to this actual URL, and then it leads us to the same server. And if we go here under DNS Management, let's go look at the hosted zones, just the setups for all the records, DNS records. Normally, if you made websites before, you might remember setting these up on like maybe Namecheap or GoDaddy. But since we're using AWS, we had Namecheap give the permissions to manage all the records and stuff to AWS. So here we see that we have all the redirects for the website. This is used for AWS. This is used by Google Analytics, if I'm correct. And then this one is used by Mailgun, which I'll talk about in another video. So yeah, and then you see here we have a second hosted zone, mail.apousc.org. This is also used by Mailgun. I'll talk about this in another video as well. So this is about all that I've done with AWS. There is still a lot more improvements that can be made to it, including implementing continuous integration, automatic backups of the database, backups of the instances, as well as crash detection and things like that. But yeah. So right now we are using the AWS free tier. It is a pricing plan that lasts for 1 year. Basically, it gives you 750 hours of EC2 instance running time for free. That's running one instance, 24/7 for a whole month for a year. Um, and there are a lot of other features that are offered as well. It's pretty generous. So this is the billing and cost management dashboard. To get here, you just need to click your username and then click my billing dashboard. This page gives you a summary of what services you've used or what services you're using and how much it'll cost you to run, as well as a predicted end of the month cost forecast. So right now you see that the only thing you're being charged for right now is $1.01 for Route 53. So Route 53 is like a monthly charge. Basically, you gotta pay $1. It's not covered by the free tier. And then if you scroll down to the top free tier services by usage, you'll see that it tells you how much you've used so far. So since we are currently on the free tier plan, it doesn't really cost us anything to run one instance of EC2 of an EC2 server. But once the free plan runs out, it should be around December of 2020. We are going to be charged to run the web server. I think it should be probably around $5 to $10 a month. One thing I have to say is that you should be careful about what services you're using with AWS. At some point, I enabled some service. I think it was called like Fast Snapshot Restore or something, that lets you immediately restore the website to a backup if the website happened to go down. And I didn't realize that one, it wasn't covered by the free tier, and two, it was a continuous charge that charged you by the hour instead of whenever it was used. So I didn't check back on the billing services for a month, and when I looked at it, I had a charge for $200 over here, and I was like, that's way outside my budget. So I had to contact support, and they gave me like a one-time credit to cover it. So just be careful about what services you're using and make sure that it is within your budget if you decide to use any of those services.